pretty good. I would like to just, enlighten you on a couple of issues here. Both Lori came out and said, as far as he's concerned, everything's on the table. We've had Peter come forth and say we're going to fight for this. I would like to say there has been some confusion since the appeal was announced, because that appeal was announced subsequent to the announcement wherein Minister Fantino said there would be a complete, comprehensive review. Those of us who were at the minister's stakeholders meeting this past month, when Minister Fantino came forth and told us about the appeal, there was a lot of confusion there. There was a lot of issues. Will the lump sum award be discussed? Is there a conflict of interest? Is there litigation issues that preclude parliamentary procedure proceeding? And I'm pleased to announce, for the government, and I am pleased to announce this, Laurie, that I spoke with Minister Fantino this morning. It was very clear that the lump sum award will be on the table, that we will be discussing this as the comprehensive parliamentary review goes forward, and that we will also, as a veterans community, ensure that this dialogue results in something constructive, effective, and that will serve our veterans. So on that note, I would like to invite Jim Carey-Janis up to the stage. Jim's a new Veterans Affairs critic for the Liberal Party. I would like to compliment Jim for the manner in which he's treated us at the Canadian Veterans Advocacy and other veterans this week by inviting us to meet with Mr. Trudeau. This morning we spoke with many members of the Liberal caucus. The opportunity to engage in constructive dialogue is present where it was not present before. So on that note, I would like to, he's been to the portfolio just a little bit now, but he has made an impact. And here you go, Jim, it's your turn.
Good evening. I probably know about, 10, 20% of what you know. But I know one thing. When you ask the minister a question, the minister has the responsibility to answer. The minister does not turn around and make fun of you. Absolutely not. It is not responsible for the minister to make fun of you. A man that has dedicated his life as a police officer, he was a Super Cup of Ontario, a man that I've known for 30 years and I had a lot of respect for. But when he said to me yesterday, I and the member agree that his leader will never be made Prime Minister, I found that distasteful. I found that not only distasteful, but I found it very unbecoming of the Minister of the Crown. When I hear my colleague that says we're going to take 10 sessions, well, in plain language, in the schoolyard, it would be like this. Who the hell are you kidding? 20 hours? Is that what you're worth? Let me see now, let me do the math. I've sat in the committee a couple of years. 2 hours per session, 10 sessions, 20 hours. You get one set of witnesses in for the first hour, another set of witnesses for the second hour. So we're going to get 40 sets of witnesses in. 40 sets. Who are you going to be in front of the line? Who of you is going to hear Corporal Dave Hawkins? Who are you going to hear for him tell his stories? Oh yeah, we're going to video conference. I got news for you. Unless you go out there and you speak to the vets. And unless you go out there and you see Mike Pahlevian, which is right now in a ward in BC, in Vancouver, and he hears the guns go off, as the minister said. He was there. He was heavily medicated. And they gave him a gun and said, go to the range. And what's holding him together is 2 pins and 1 pin on his back. That's what's holding him together. He tried to commit suicide by putting fire to his mattress. 40 sessions? Is that what the military is worth to you? Well, you know what? I'm not a military individual, but I feel that I got a responsibility. A responsibility not only to my constituents, but a responsibility to you to be heard. If that's all you're worth, then I better go sit down and shut up. because I value your contribution to this great country of ours more than 40 sessions. I used to hear about the military and was, okay, they're going over there to fight, big deal. But I've seen what you've done. I've seen what you've done in Cyprus. I've seen what you've done in Cyprus, an island that's divided, and there's a green line. And I've watched what you've done back in 1989, when I was there for the first time. You were walking along, and they were taking pot shots at the blue helmets. We lost 29 men, I believe, in Cyprus, or 27, I could be wrong. I've seen what the DART team did in Sri Lanka, firsthand, and I've seen what the DART team did in Muzaffarabad. 40 sessions? I'm sorry, I don't buy that. If that is what we are going to give you, I think we're selling you short. So get ready to be sold again. Folks, I was not in the committee when this NVC came in. You were there. I think you said you didn't vote for it. Or we all did. You did. We all voted for it. We were sold a pile of goods. I think it was made in the back of the plane or in front of the plane on the way back, and it was the push to get it through because we thought we were going to get the community to support us and get the votes. And yet the community is probably leaning towards one party. But I got to tell you what I'm hearing now. I'm hearing it loud. And when I hear tonight my colleague say 10 sessions, which is 2 sets of, no, not even that, sorry, 10 sessions, we're talking 20 stakeholders or community groups who are coming in. Not 40, not 20, I said correctly. So how about this? How about tomorrow morning, I'll put on the table, and you support me for a unique motion that we're going to hear Corporal Dave Hawkins. Make that commitment.
Listen to what I said.
Listen to what I say. So I know the minister's staff is here, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Corporal Dave Hawkins. He's the young man that was up in Parliament today. Both I and the NDP asked questions about him. And we're going to ask him to tell us his story. He's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'd like to see we start off with that session. How many of you have seen the movie Hurt Locker? Well, it's something unique. You have. It's very unique. It was about somebody that disengaged bombs, IDPs, is that what you call them? I could be wrong. And then he was in Afghanistan. He showed up in Iraq. He went home. He couldn't make it home. And the only way that he could save himself was go back to Iraq. I'm sorry. I can't, as a parliamentarian, as a human being, understand that. And I cannot understand as a human being that I stood there and I sent men and women in harm's way in the Gulf, in Croatia, in Afghanistan, major theaters, as well as others. When we were talking about the Gulf, my first words, I was just elected, not even a year, and I said, I can't support this because I can't fathom when my daughters get older that they're going to stand somewhere holding a gun. I have $5. And I got 2 son-in-laws. And I look at them and I say, don't you ever think about going in the Army because of what I hear. And when I left Mike, my heart broke. And I know that some of you are in that hurt locker. I see the pain. And I see the feelings. So the only thing that if we're going to do it, we've got to do it right. And if we're going to do it, no 10 sessions. If we're going to do it, the committee has a moral responsibility and an ethical responsibility. I don't care who's at the helm of this government or which party it is. We have a moral responsibility to you to make sure that we travel across this country to hear you. If we're going to short shift you again, I can tell you what it's going to be at the end of the thing. You're going to get shoved again. So, as somebody told me this morning, either you do or you get off. There's a term in the military for that. Folks, I am going to be supporting that we travel the country and be there for as long as it takes to hear all the hurt lockers, to hear all the submissions. And as you say in terminology of the Army, what is it? Nobody left behind? Is that what you say?
Yeah.
If that's what you say, if our government has that moral and ethical responsibility to you, nobody left behind, I'd be damned if I'm gonna support 10 sessions. The minister asked for it, he wants everything on the table, he wants everything open, let's open it up. He was the one that opened the Pandora's box. And it should have been opened. Because I can't see a young man or a young woman coming back from Afghanistan hurt, and we give them a lump sum, 50, 60, 70, $100,000. That's like putting a beer in front of a drunk. I've heard of a case where a young man went out there, bought a fast car. He got back on the base. He smashed the car. He's got nothing now. I can tell you about Kevin Berry. That came back, he's one of the people, plaintiffs is it? Is that the word that I'm looking for? And he ended up going like this. And he worked himself, and he's in shape. He's got two hearing aids, and he's got a dog, a service dog. I thought the service dogs were puppies that you sort of, just pet them up, and it's like, yeah, make them feel good, and away we go. So, I invited some veterans to lunch. And one of the dogs came over and started licking my hand. I'm diabetic. The veteran looked at me and says, take your pills. Huh? Take your diabetic pills. I was for it. And the minister says, we're going to do a study on therapy dogs. Well, therapy dogs are the dogs that flunked. Service dogs. There's no service to be done. There's no study to be done. We should move ahead and support our vets. This program works. This program is there. And they've seen it. So here's a new standard. A very new standard. Sir, you're a vet. When the committee does the work, I'll invite you, everybody that's here in Ottawa today, to come to the committee meeting. They might go on camera and kick everybody out. That's not unusual for the Conservative Party. But I want them to look in your eyes. And as Kate McEachran says, look into the eyes of the vets. I want every one of us, when we are making legislation, we're talking about it, or we're even opening our mouths, to look into your eyes and think about what we say. Because we owe you. We owe you our democracy, and some of us even owe you our lives. And if that doesn't mean anything to the members of the committee, I don't care what party they are, well, somebody said to me, hand in your uniform. Or somebody else say to them, hand in your resignation. Because those vets are the ones that kept you alive. The ones that, in Holland, liberated you. And although Greece, where I come from, we didn't have any Canadian vets, we had other vets that were there for us. And there were two Canadian nurses that died back in Gallipoli. Because when Canada was looking what side to take, they set up a hospital. It was a Canadian hospital. And in the island of Lesbos, there were 2 Canadian nurses that died. I didn't know that part of the history. But I know it now. So here is my pledge to you. I'll be damned. Whoever it is that tells me this hurt locker is not going to be hurt. I'll be damned if I'm going to let anybody not allow you to say your piece. I want to thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'm looking forward to learn. But I do politics a little different. My wife says to me, you've been elected for 25 years. You were never a politician. At the end of the day, the only thing that I want to take with me is that I've done my best for the people that I work for. 10 sessions? Bring it on. Bring it into the ring. Thank you.